On this episode of Tips from the Top Floor, I don't really have good answers to your questions. So let's see if we can figure that stuff out together. This episode is supported by Dougal, a legendary photo lab that is now at your fingertips. ShopDougal.com is the expanded online storefront of Dougal Visual Studios, a leader and innovator in printing for over 50 years. At ShopDougal.com, you now have instant access to world-class printing solutions such as HD photo and archival pigment prints, acrylic prints, canvas prints, metal prints, photo books, and more, and they ground ship for free. Give us your best, we'll give you ours. Find out more at shopdougal.com/topfloor. That's shopdougal.com/topfloor and use promo code TOPFLOOR at checkout to get 25% off your first order. This is Tips on the Top Floor episode 832 for Thursday, July the 19th, 2018.
Tips from the top floor, tips from the top, alright, from the top floor.
Hello and welcome to Tips from the Top Floor. We're back with with a bit of a different episode this time. Because you guys stumped me. You stumped me. Or specifically Keith and Bob did. I always kind of I like to do my homework. I like to put in some research for you, especially with questions that I don't really have a good answer to. It's just this enormous amount of learning for me that gives me a reason to learn. It's really cool. I love it. My knowledge about photography has increased so much since I started doing this podcast, and that's why I love the podcast. Not just that, but that's one of the reasons. But sometimes I get questions from some of you that I listen to, and immediately while I listen to the question, I go, oh, I don't even know where to start with this. And sometimes there are questions that I have researched in the past and given up on. And the two questions by Keith and Rob, they're that kind of questions. I've given up on them in the past. So let's see what I can make of them this time. Before that, just a quick piece of breaking news. We have 2 spots open on our Lofoten Tour that starts in 2 months, and which is not unusual. Sometimes people just have to cancel a tour. There are like 1,000 reasons why that can happen. This time, 2 participants had to cancel. They had booked together, and they have a reason not to come, which is unfortunate for them. But it also means that you now have a shot at coming with us, because I want to fill those 2 spots again. Lofoten is in northern Norway. It's above the Arctic Circle, and it's this specific tour. I call that the Fantastic Fjords Tour because of the just amazing landscape of Lofoten, the wild mix of mountains that directly dip into the sea, and that in combination with the light, especially in September, the sun is low. It gives us really long sunsets, very long time to enjoy that light. Really good for photography. It's really amazing. The landscape is amazing. And then when the sun goes down, well, there's a reason I call this one the Aurora Edition, because in early September, that's a really good time for catching the northern lights. No guarantees, but if the weather should be nice, it looks like we have a very good chance of catching that. And it's also a 9-day tour. Starts in September 8th and goes to the 16th. All accommodation included, all meals included. We'll do several boat trips. One over the infamous Malmström that Jules Verne and Edgar Allan Poe wrote about. And this is my 3rd time on the Lofoten archipelago. 2nd time for the photo tour. And it's also in terms of hiking, it's a relatively light tour. There are not many hikes, and we'll have our vehicles, and we'll explore the entire area all the way down to the town with the shortest name in existence. It's called Awe. That's the A with a little circle on top. And we will see the fjords, the sea eagles. We'll be in a stunning landscape, in wonderful light. Hopefully get some northern lights at night. Norway is also known for its great food. So, as I said, there are 2 spots open. And if you're interested, be quick. The tour is at Discover the Top Floor, and I'd love to see you there. Oh, here's another one that blew me kind of away a bit. And this one takes us to southern Tyrol, which is an alpine region south of Germany in northern Italy. Kind of an autonomous region located in the Dolomites mountain range. And you know that Tips from the Top Floor is not my only podcast, among others, like The Future Photography and so on. I also produce the Happy Shooting podcast here in Germany, in the German language. And Arik is a listener of that podcast, and he also works in a hotel in southern Tyrol on the so-called Seiser Alm, which is known for its hiking and skiing, and it also sees a good number of American tourists. And one day, Arik talked to Jeffrey McDonald about photography and about podcasts. And Arik tells Jeffrey about this German podcast that he listens to, Happy Shooting. And Jeffrey tells Arik about this German guy's podcast that he listens to. And you guessed it. It's, of course, this little show that you're listening to right now. And it's just such a small world. And then the two recorded a quick greeting for me, a quick video. Now, let me play that sound for you.
Hallo, ich bin der Arik, wir sind hier auf der Seiser Alm und ich höre Happy Shooting.
And I listen to Tips from the Top Floor. So 1,
2, 3, Happy Shooting.
Isn't that cool? It just blew me away. So, Arik, Jeffrey, thank you so much, guys. This is very cool. Anyway, today's episode is 2 questions for the community, which is my way of saying I have no clue how to answer those. So, before we get to the questions by Keith and Rob, let me just briefly say thanks to this week's sponsor, WeTransfer. You know, we've all heard a lot about privacy policies in the past month or so, but have you ever heard about a company being proud of their privacy policy? WeTransfer is. WeTransfer is all about making file sharing easy for everyone, and worrying about your privacy is the opposite of that. WeTransfer serves ads to keep their service free, but never in that creepy, I was just talking about blenders 20 minutes ago and now I'm seeing ads for blenders everywhere kind of way. They don't sell user data, they don't snoop or spy on files, and they don't want to know your shoe size, soft drink preference, or shopping history. In fact, they reserve 30% of their ad space to showcase the work of artists from around the world. It's their way of making the internet a nicer, simpler, and more beautiful place. Start sending files privately and securely at notcreepy.wetransfer.com. You make WeTransfer. I just love these ads. Anyway, let's get started with Keith.
Hi, Chris. This is Keith. I have a question. I have, through the years, amassed a massive collection of pictures that I have taken myself. Sadly, most of them are duplicates. Is there a program out there that I can allocate all the pictures from all my external hard drives and bring them in to a program to sort them, find duplicates, delete the duplicates, and sort them into a separate hard drive like a NAS drive? Any help would be great. Some of the file names are the same, some of them are different. So I would like it to be somewhat smart in the selection of what's a duplicate and what's not. Thanks.
Okay, Keith, I don't have an answer. That's the first thing I have to say. Now, I know how this happens. You make a copy of something, maybe of an entire directory, like instead of a backup, just to put it on a different external drive, and then you don't have the drive with you, and then you use another drive, and then stuff just starts accumulating, and it's not that hard to get to that point. I've seen it so many times. I've partially been there myself, and you're facing a bit of a challenge here, and I'm pretty sure there is a solution. I'm pretty sure some of the listeners out there have a solution for you. There's some challenges here. Okay, you have stuff under different file names. That makes it a bit harder, because the challenge is for any piece of software, and there is lots of that out there, how to match photos, right? File names alone don't really make it. You have to also compare the size of the files. the creation date, problem is there might be different sizes of the same photo because you might have worked on something and then there are different versions. They might be in different formats. Maybe one is a JPEG and another's a PNG and another's in TIFF format. So the best thing would be some software that, I don't know, takes some kind of a fingerprint of the photo that looks actually inside the photo and to visually compare the pictures. Now, this is where I would typically go online and do an online search and go, okay, let me check out a few of these tools. There are a ton of tools out there, and I think you didn't even mention if you're on a PC or on a Mac, so it makes it kind of difficult to answer the question. So this is where the community comes in, because I'm pretty sure that you are not the only one who had that problem, and maybe we can kind of tap into the experience of the community and have everyone chime in. Send a voicemail to voice@tfttf.com if you have solved this problem for yourself. Just a caveat, okay? If you go out there, be careful with software that promises to be able to automatically do this for you. That's a recipe for losing photos. I've seen other people lose photos this way. The software that you use has to have at least some minimum requirements. It has to allow you to compare before you delete. So it should show you side by side, oh, this is what it thinks is the original, this is what it thinks is copy. And you'll have to set aside some time for that. It's maybe just a few hours, depending on the amount of photos, maybe an entire weekend, maybe an entire week. But you have to get this done once. And then when you're at that point, it gets even more important that you do not fall back into this, into generating these duplicates and copies, because then you'll be very soon at the same spot, and that's probably not desirable. Which means you will also it would help if you adopted a good workflow there to not get to that point again. And a good and consistent workflow for me would include things like giving keywords during an import so you can find them by keyword. Maybe have a specific and a consistent place to store your photos, like a NAS or an external hard drive. Maybe with folders and subfolders by year and month and day or event. That might be a good start. Or learn to use something like Lightroom that I use and many photographers use that helps you with a built-in database to kind of keep track of things and keep them together. And then instead of making copies to protect you from the loss of photos, it makes a lot of sense to use backup software. That keeps versions of stuff online, and you can go back if you have to. If you're in a Mac, Time Machine is built in. Time Machine comes with your Mac, so all you have to do is plug in an external hard drive and tell Time Machine back up there, and then just let it run, and it does an hourly backup. If you're on Windows, I've heard good things about a software called Genie Timeline. Again, just recommendation. I've never used it, so maybe the community can help there too. But there might be other software that is similar. Maybe even do a cloud backup if you're really worried about using photos and you want to kind of disaster proof, like if you have a flood or a house fire and your hard drives get grilled. There's external cloud-based backups like Backblaze, for example. Again, it's just one example of many online backup services. And again, if anyone out there, any of you, the listeners, have a recommendation how to deal with these duplicates and pulling everything together and clearing it up, let me know. And I'll follow up here on the show. Send it to voice@tfttf.com. Thank you.
Hi, Chris. It's Rob calling from Adelaide, South Australia. We need to set up a library for the school I work at where we put all our images from different events and then have that library able to be accessed by different people, including teachers and admin staff. Now, the thing is that the library has to be private because, it's a school. And secondly, some parents give you permission to use pictures in social media, like, hey, this was our sports day, and some we can't use because of legal reasons or whatever it may be. So I just wondered if there's a suggestion that There's a central library where people can access it using both Mac and PC, but it's private. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that. Thanks very much. Bye.
Hey, Rob. Again, this is a topic that I have researched in the past for a client, and we came up with a system together, but I'm not sure that's the right one for you. This is for a school. You want a library of photos that people can access, and you need some privacy there, which I think would mean passwords, right? And then it should also be able to store information about the permissions if a photo is okay to be used in social media or not. And what you're looking for, I think, can be done in several ways. In general, I mean the general task that you're looking for. Don't go Googling, because I'll say something about this. But the general thing you want to look for is a DAM, a digital asset management thing. That's the generic term, but there is software under that term that they try to sell you that is quite powerful. Now, again, this can be done in many different levels. One thing would be the homemade kind of way, just by folders on a server. If there's a school server and you have some access control using logins and roles and users to allow access to certain directories, that might be a good way to do it. There could also be kind of an online photo service that you would use and place the pictures in password protected albums, maybe sorted by event. SmugMug comes to mind. There's, again, others out there. And the pro about this is it's passwords. You can use like a description field to keep information about, I don't know if it's allowed to be used in social media. Can be accessed from anywhere in the internet. The con is it's on someone else's server. So that's why I said SmugMug, because that's kind of an independent service. It's a paid service, but it's independent. So it would be, your data is probably more private than on something like Google Drive or Facebook or something. Of course, someone would need to manage that, like the passwords, and generally kind of be on top of this. You will need a process in place when, I don't know, someone leaves the school to change things around. And that's kind of difficult to do with just albums and passwords on them, because what you're looking for is more like a user management thing, which is why I was thinking about using the operating system for it. And then there's the next to the homemade way, there's the kind of the professional way, and that's the DAM, that's the digital asset management solution. And that's when I gave up, because you start Googling that, and there's so many things out there, and they all are more or less expensive, not really cheap. And they are like very different in terms of features. And in general, what does a DAM do? Well, it lets you upload assets, and with the asset, I mean a photo in this case, but it could also be audio or video, general asset management. It'll let you manage those assets, like put them into keywords, give permissions, who can see what, have licenses, have meta information, like who can this photo be used in social media. And then it'll have a search engine that allows you to search for assets and folders, and they're all kind of different. And then you can share assets. Like from there, you could select several pictures and click send to Lucy for putting online. And you can manage roles and permissions. So it's relatively easy to manage, like who can access what. And here's a quick but I don't have a specific solution for you. But I have a few general thoughts about digital asset management. But again, this is where I think the community should come in. Have you guys done something like that? And I'm not talking in an enterprise context. This is a school context, which is different from a big IT company or something. It has to be simple. It has to be, well, probably can't be costly. I'm still leaning towards using the operating system. General thoughts about digital asset management. Many of the available dams out there are overkill. Plain overkill. They target an enterprise type environment, like let's say a publication, a newspaper, an online magazine. Bigger companies like marketing departments in big companies use digital asset management solutions. The press people, the public relations people. That's the kind of stuff that where a dam is normally in use. In a school, yeah. There's a good chance that a dam will also add complexity where it's not really necessary, because these things are, they can get quite complex. And also really, really important, but it doesn't really matter if it's a dam or your homebrew solution. You will need someone to own and manage the thing. It won't be just tacked on like 3% of time of someone. That'll take time off the schedule of a dedicated person. This will not work unless someone is responsible and has the time to manage it and has the time to educate the others about how to use it. Because trust me, that will be necessary with a digital asset management solution. And it also needs to be usable. It needs to be easily usable. And again, we're talking about a school. And me looking back, most of my teachers weren't really that techie. So anyone in a business context who has ever used Lotus Notes or SAP, you know what I'm talking about, right? If it's too complex, too confusing, or too time consuming to enter the photos or find them, the thing will just not be used. And last but not least, this stuff can be costly. DAMs can be costly. I think when I've looked before the show, some of them started at $25 per month per user. It's kind of on the lower price end. I've found some that are substantially more expensive. There are also cheaper solutions, like open source based ones, but then they are kind of not easy to use. In the end, of course, it kind of depends on the amount of people you want to share with, and your budget, and your willingness to embrace some level of complexity. Again, or you try the homebrew version and just make sure you have a few solid processes around that and someone who's in charge. You will need this anyway. And again, I don't have a good answer. I can't just pull something out of my hat and go, hey, here, use this. I wish I could. But again, maybe the community will be able to help. So everyone out there, did you have a similar need at any time? And did you find a good solution? Let me know. Send me an email or a voicemail. Even better, tell me in a voicemail to voice@tfttf.com. Record it with your voice recorder of choice on your smartphone and send it to voice@tfttf.com. I'd be happy to follow up on this here on one of the next episodes. All right, that was it for this episode of Tips from the Top Floor. And now I have to go tidy up the Viewfinder Villa. We have a light-themed workshop here over the weekend. Full house, and gonna make it a bit neat here. I remember that I told you there'd be sunshine. And again, if you'd like to see the Northern Lights in Northern Norway, check out our Lofoten Photo Tour in early September. I have 2 spots available at discoverthetopfloor.com. You're in for a treat. And if you're looking for ways to support the show, you can find all information at tfttf.com/support. And I thank you. I really thank you for your support. Music for the show by Jeff Smith, silent partner, enhanced by the Kagurut Publishing, and Slack challenges by Release Pixie, Matt, Ravsitar Armstead, Slack invitations by Chief Invitation Officer, CIO Rusty Russ. The link to get on the Slack is in the show notes. My name is Chris Marquardt. You'll find me on social media at Chris MarQuardt. Go out and take amazing photos. Be nice to each other. And happy shooting.